Nebula, forged in shadows, rising in light. Nebula stood on the edge of a dying star, the heat licking at her blue metallic skin, her bionic enhancements humming softly in the background. She was a child of pain, a being shaped by the relentless hand of her father, Thanos. Every scar on her body was a testament to her father's twisted lessons, and every bionic replacement was a reminder of the battles she had lost to her sister, Gamora. But Nebula wasn't here to dwell on her past. She was here for a mission. The star she orbited was known as Signara, home to a hidden forge capable of crafting weapons infused with the power of the cosmos. Thanos had once sought this forge for his conquests, but the Celestials had sealed it away, deeming it too dangerous for mortal hands. Nebula had no intention of using the forge for war. Instead, she sought to destroy it, to prevent another tyrant like Thanos from wielding its power. As she descended onto Signara's surface, her ship, the Retribution, hummed with a comforting rhythm. The planet was a desolate wasteland of molten rivers and obsidian spires, illuminated by the flickering light of the dying star above. Nebula's keen cybernetic eye scanned the landscape, detecting faint energy signatures emanating from beneath the surface. The forge lay buried, hidden by ancient mechanisms and celestial spells. Nebula wasn't alone in her quest. The galaxy had learned of the forge's existence, and scavengers, bounty hunters, and warlords now sought to claim it. As she navigated the treacherous terrain, she encountered a familiar face, Korath the Pursuer, a Kree warrior with a reputation for ruthlessness. "So, the infamous daughter of Thanos comes to play the hero?" Korath sneered, his dual-blade weapons glinting in the dim light. "I'm here to ensure no one plays the villain," Nebula retorted, her voice cold as the vacuum of space. The battle that followed was fierce. Nebula's agility and precision clashed with Korath's brute strength. Sparks flew as her electrified batons met his blades, and the ground beneath them trembled. Despite his strength, Korath underestimated Nebula's resolve. She disabled his weapon and left him unconscious, a reminder of her growing strength and determination. Deeper into the planet, Nebula faced the Forge's guardians, mechanical constructs designed by the Celestials. Their designs were intricate, their movements fluid, but Nebula's knowledge of machinery gave her the edge. With each guardian she dismantled, she felt a pang of familiarity, as though she were battling pieces of herself. Finally, she reached the Forge, a colossal chamber pulsating with radiant energy. At its center stood the core, a sphere of condensed starlight. Destroying it would unleash a chain reaction, obliterating the planet and the Forge with it. But as Nebula prepared to act, a vision flickered before her. Gamora. Not the sister who had fought her, but the one who had shared stolen moments of laughter and fleeting bonds of trust. Nebula hesitated. Was she truly destroying the Forge for the galaxy's safety? Or was this a quest to prove she was more than Thanos' daughter? In that moment, Nebula chose. She overloaded the Forge's core, setting a timer for its destruction. As the planet quaked, she raced back to her ship, narrowly escaping as Signara was consumed in a brilliant explosion. Back on her ship, Nebula stared out into the void, her reflection distorted in the glass. The galaxy would never know her sacrifice, but for the first time, she felt the weight of her past begin to lift. She was no longer just a daughter of Thanos. She was Nebula, a being forging her own path among the stars. Nebula, a shadow's light. Nebula drifted in the silence of space, her ship cloaked in the shadows of a nearby nebula. The destruction of Signara had left her with a peculiar feeling. Not guilt, not regret, but something she struggled to name. Felt like purpose. For the first time in her existence, she had made a decision that wasn't dictated by Thanos or her thirst for vengeance. She had chosen her own path, but the universe, vast and unrelenting, had little room for peace. A distress signal pierced the quiet, emanating from a ship not far from her position. Nebula almost ignored it, She owed no one her help. But something about the signal's urgency, the faint flicker of hope in its transmission, tugged at her. Against her better judgment, she changed course. The signal led her to a small freighter under siege by a band of Ravagers. Nebula's scanners identified the attackers as a rogue faction, brutal even by Ravager standards. Their ships swarmed like carrion birds, picking apart the freighter's defenses. "This isn't my fight," Nebula muttered to herself, her fingers hovering over the navigation controls. But then she heard it. A child's voice, faint and trembling, in the background of the distress call. "Please, someone help us." Nebula's grip tightened on the controls. The voice resonated with a memory buried deep within her. A memory of her own screams, ignored and dismissed by her father. She activated the Retribution's weapon systems. The ensuing battle was swift and merciless. Nebula's ship cut through the Ravagers with precision, her piloting skills honed by years of survival. One by one, the attackers fell, their ships reduced to floating debris. The freighter, battered but intact, drifted free. Docking with the freighter, Nebula boarded cautiously, her weapons drawn. Inside, she found a ragtag group of survivors, merchants, travelers, and a young girl clutching a stuffed toy. The child looked up at Nebula with wide, fearful eyes.